Hi, welcome back to the Ygartua Art Chronicles, where we continue discovering the fantastic life and work of Paul Ygartua and his wife Joanne. In today's episode, we rejoin the pair during their European adventures. We follow Joanne and Paul around the Mediterranean working towards their future favourite Sitges, then on to Saragossa and eventually Paris. And so the whole aim here was to go across to Sitges, where your friends were, or Barcelona, right. Certainly, and Sitges. And so you had to drive all the way.
Sitges.
Did you then drive all the way around Nice, Marseille, all that, all the way around the Med?
Exactly. Yeah? Passed everywhere.
Wow.
That's right.
And this van didn't give you any trouble?
Sitges.
No.
You know what? Not a problem once. I mean, I think in Greece we charged the battery a couple of times, but it was.
It's great. This van.
Yeah, it was a great.
It's one
van.
of the
I never had
best.
one problem with that one. Yeah.
Can you remember
we
what
had
it was?
with a lot of others later stories.
What was it?
What was it? The van?
It was a BMC.
A BMC.
A BMC.
In England, is that
really?
BMC van. 3-ton van. Yeah.
Oh yeah, British
Diesel.
Motor Corporation. Wow.
That's right.
Oh.
And it was a diesel, so I had to, it had a spark plug. You had to have a heater plug to heat it in the morning before you could start the engine. So it was quite an interesting truck. I felt like a truck driver. I was waving to truck drivers all the time. Joanne got mad at me.
No, it
She
wasn't that.
says,
but I just
you'd
said
like to have been a truck driver, wouldn't you?
nobody enjoyed it so much that I used to say, "Wow, hey, what are you thinking about with your artwork, Paul?"
Yeah,
like when
right.
we're driving through Greece, nothing. Like,
Nothing.
He's trying to
Stop
concentrate
waving
on
at
driving.
the trucks.
And I'd say, it looks like you thoroughly enjoy the physical part of driving.
Yeah.
And he said, "Yeah, I love it."
Absolutely.
Yeah, he did. He's a very good driver, but it wasn't like this was a fast sports car. He really
No,
loved
you
the
couldn't
truck.
go faster. It was like 50 mile an hour, 55, maybe at the most 60.
But Sitges, oh my gosh!
So you were right.
Our friends before in Blanes had said, "Whatever you do, don't miss Sitges."
Beautiful Sitges.
Yeah,
Palm trees and beautiful church and
it's the history again in Sitges. Is
lots of
just
customers to
something
buy
else.
paintings there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the idea, we
Yeah.
knew, that was a place to sell paintings.
Oh yeah.
We could get a permit there, and the promenade there, which is right in front of the beach, and the patio, which is always just
In those
sort
days
of a
was full of artists.
sand sort of style.
Some
Yeah.
great artists there.
Some very good artists. They came from Madrid. They came from all over.
Oh, yeah.
And today those artists are well known in
They've got their own galleries, some of them.
Oh, yeah, beautiful.
Yeah, the one
Beautiful
from
work.
Sitges has got his own gallery in Sitges.
There's the two of them. Yeah,
That's right.
Yeah.
beautiful work. Yeah. So when we're there, our friends from Barcelona, Denny and Jose, came down every weekend, and sure, there's nothing but we were out every night for tapas, and it's very reasonable, especially in those days. Spain still is
You could
reasonable.
get a 3-course meal
it's
and a
always-
bottle of wine
ridiculous.
for about $5
in
those days.
Yeah, even now, what is it, 10 euros?
Now it's still only 10
It's
euros.
crazy. Yeah. So
And
people,
And they always throw a bottle of wine in.
And you didn't? Did you go through Barcelona, or you'd been there before? So
we
Yes.
stopped off with our friends there. They had an apartment near the La Sagrada Familia. They were just
The
down the
church,
street from there. Yeah, very.
Wow.
They're still there to this day. Such a great area. Yeah, just with Gaudi. We'll talk about him later, but in the next.
Yeah, that gave me inspiration, painting the works of Gaudi using his sculptures and his
Just incredible.
carvings.
Oh, yeah.
That's what Barcelona is.
That was,
Gaudi.
he was an abstract sculptor. If you
the
look at the
19
Sagrada Familia, the first part
Yeah.
that he actually participated in
Yeah.
is a work of art. Since then, there's been modern architects working on it, and
Yeah.
Trying to follow
they've
his
tried
design,
but it's just not the same, of course.
Yeah.
It's got its own beauty in a way, I suppose, in a modern concept way. But boy, the first part that he did is just
Yeah.
It's just a masterpiece of sculpture, you know.
And the wonderful thing, like I always pointed out over the years, it's just like Mexico with Diego Rivera, where the actual government supports this genius art, and they let the artists do what they want.
Yes.
Where, in other countries it's too controlled. And that's why Gaudi was so lucky as well.
Yeah.
Okay, and so Sitges.
Well, then.
The summer, that's right.
Yeah, the summer in Sitges. Well, we did save, every year we were saving little baby kittens, like a day old. The mother, if a kitten wasn't perfect, that mother would either smother them or they would just leave, or unless they were bad mums, I don't know. But they were famous for the cats.
Well, the first cat had their babies in the van.
No, that was the second lot. So,
anyway.
But no matter what, these little kitties, like we had the two to begin with, and Sitges actually in the pharmacy, they had little baby bottles and formula that you would give these cats, like milk, because they didn't have their mummy. What happened one day, I have them down on the promenade in a box, because they had to be cared for all the time, right? And, they were getting fatter and fatter, like we couldn't figure out, they could hardly walk, because their tummies were so big. And then I have this pig farm guy, and he looks and he says, "Hey, the mothers, you've got these kittens.
You've got to burst the bowels."
Yeah.
Otherwise, they just explode.
So I was so grateful that he told me that. And that was Paul's job, too.
To hold him and squeeze him.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
Oh, yuck.
Never heard anything like it, but that was the case. But then I had...
He had a smile on his face after, though.
Yeah. Well, you were painting. For some reason at that time, you were painting back in the apartment.
That's right.
And then... I was on the promenade, and then one day I have Mrs. Armentrout come by. And this is before we had already decided that we'd go to Canary Islands for the winter. And our friend George from Berlin, his family, they all live there. And he actually came through Sitges just one day in his red convertible.
Little sports car.
Crazy. And just, hey, you're still coming, adios, winning, hola, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But Mrs. Armentrout, she buys a few paintings, and then she says to me, hey, she says, you guys should come to Zaragoza. She said, I'm married to Major Armentrout, and we're with the American base, the fighter pilot base in Zaragoza.
Nice.
And we do exhibitions in the Officers Club. And I said, well, that sounds great. I said, we can't right now, but we could next April, because we're going on to Canary Islands, but give me all your info and I will write you while we're in Canary Islands, which we did.
Yeah.
And that first show, after Canary is in the April, but then we're heading towards
So then we
Cadiz,
came to Cadiz. That's after Sitges. We drive to Cadiz, and we're waiting there for 8 hours to catch the boat. And while we're waiting there, I started doodling and painting in the back, because the back of our van I had an easel at the back that pulled down into a bed. I designed it so that...
Wow.
Yeah, so it was like a big...
Daytime, it
big
was an
board.
easel.
It was a big flat board that when it's up and bolted against the wall, it's an easel to work against.
And
then at night it just pulled straight down onto two cupboards, and it became a bed.
Brilliant.
So it was up and down all the time.
Okay.
So I started doodling and working, and that's where I sort of invented my Celestialism style, working with ideas from other planets and people from futuristic ideas. I think the first one I did was a futuristic pop group, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, you've done a lot of pop groups. I think that one was, yeah.
Celestial Players, I think I called that one.
Where did you think that came from? Do you have any understanding of where that what elements might have combined?
I believe UFOs exist. I always did believe in UFOs. I mean, I always believed that the Star of Bethlehem was a UFO. It was they talk about the flaming chariots, and the Star of Bethlehem evidently shone down and beamed a light on the manger. To me, that sounds like a UFO.
Okay.
And so maybe the captain of the
But
UFO.
I always related back to Montreal 67.
That as well. The ideas came from some of the things I'd seen at the expo.
Just
the
those
figures,
huge sculpts.
the huge figures that were almost baby, like
they were like celestial.
stretched out human shapes, I guess. I don't know. But I kind of advanced on that thought, developed that thought.
Yeah, sort of. That's what
I did another one, which was a surgical operation going on another planet, and that was amazing as well. Now, when I look back, what was going through my head when I did that, it's sort of you actually have to put yourself in the situation.
I was going to say,
close your eyes.
That's
and
right.
Sort of fantasize. Yeah, and then putting it and then making it come through your fingers and into a form of drawing. You know what I mean? That's
the
transformation.
You have to actually be seeing it inside your head, don't you? Really, to be able to do that. I presume it didn't.
I mean,
it didn't.
Lots of things.
Go on.
Well, I've been painting through visual concept. What I see.
That's what
But painting what I think is another realm altogether.
And you hadn't.
Well, I'm always thinking, the education, just traveling on its own, it's all about survival as well, right?
Yeah.
And you pick up everything as you go along, but you're not necessarily realizing what you're picking up. A change of country and lifestyle, it's sort of like a natural development which occurs that you don't really think about it. It's just there. And Paul is a visual artist, and I think subconsciously picks up visually, and then at a later date it appears in his work.
Yeah.
It might even be a year later.
From that, just going back to that inspirational moment in Cadiz, was it quite instantaneous the way it happened? You just found that you were quite free to do, because
I had 8 hours and I was going to do something.
There's obviously there's a mix of your art. Beginning there's I don't know whether it's a battle or there's the commercial side of it, and you're painting stuff to be sold, but I guess at some point your own expression will come through, and that was that point there in Cadiz was a certain key, a little twist in your where you're expressing.
All artists are searching for a style, something that they can call their own.
Yeah,
and so subconsciously, there's always that at the back of my mind is searching and experimenting and trying to find something new. And I mean, usually it happens through sketching, through drawings, because drawing is the fastest way to create an idea. And so I always did some wild drawings, but the freedom of working on, and I had this very shiny paper. It was shiny card that I bought in Rome, and that gave it was an interesting surface to work on, because I could work with acrylics or oils, and I could slide with a palette knife the paint on the surface to give a different effect.
Right.
So you could almost create an abstract with it. You know what I mean? And so that basically was the idea, was to kind of experiment, and through experimenting on this, I came up with the idea of the celestial beings and the shapes, the abstraction as well, mixed in with some realism, some realistic concrete thing,
In Canary Islands, you also, you had a lot of
a lot of macabre
paper
stuff,
and
dark.
Munch's Scream, Goya's Battlefields. We had a lot of
dark period.
Like above the sofa, I had all these.
But what was interesting was, but how I got into that.
Yeah,
it was interesting as well, because we looked for an apartment, and in the end, we got an interior apartment which had no windows.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
It was completely dark.
We don't mind that.
We were working. It didn't bother me that much because we were out as well.
We usually cut the light out.
We'd go onto the roof to have a drink because there was light there, right?
Yeah.